host Jade,
And I'm your host, Emma.
and welcome to
Lashing Out and Nailing Life.
I'll let you take it.
Today, since we went a little too long in the last episode, we are talking about the importance of quality products and how they can affect your service, clientele, personal life, all the things. All the things.
Yeah, I think high quality products go farther than just like what we do with our businesses. It comes down to what you're purchasing for your life as well.
Yeah.
And using on the daily.
Yep. I was texting you about this already, so we'll use this to segue into the episode. I hate when I see people looking for cheap services.
Yeah.
There were air quotes there for people not watching. Because it gives me like secondhand anxiety of, oh, something is gonna happen and it's gonna be bad. Because cheap products don't necessarily mean, like, just because you're getting a cheap service doesn't mean that you're going to, like, yes, you're saving money as a client on that end, but like, is it really worth it?
I think I see a lot of people in my industry who go for cheap lashes, and yes, they save money on their initial lash application, but a good 50% of the time, if I'm being polite about it, they have to go and find a different lash artist to then work over that work or correct it. Because a lot of people in the service industry, our prices are based off of not only the products we're using, but our experience and our training as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really important to factor that in when you are looking at price points. Because you're going to want somebody who's educated in their field and somebody who knows about the products they're using.
Yep. And using, like, with us knowing about what the products are, like, knowing what's in them. Mm-hmm. Because allergies are rampant, at least in my industry, I'm sure, with eyes being so sensitive. Yeah. Like, and stuff on Amazon, I don't care if it says that it's low chemical, 9, HEMA-free. Stuff on Amazon is not regulated, and you typically can't contact the actual manufacturers to, like, confirm the ingredients. And so I will shout them out, Stellar Gel. Their customer service is great. And they take pride in, like, testing their products themselves, even if they have to have them made somewhere else. There are a couple other brands that I use that do the same thing, where, like, they either have them manufactured in a warehouse that they occupy or a factory or whatever, and they have, like, all the information to where, like, if I know that I have a client with a sensitivity to something, I can ask them, hey, do you have this? And they're like, no, we don't have that in there, or yes, we do have that in there, but that's kind of the whole point, like, it has to be in there or something.
Yeah, that's the same. I use Light Heart Lash, and they are in their factories, in their warehouses, paying attention to everything with quality control. Mm-hmm. And they have their own podcast, and they did a whole episode when they released their main liquids. They did a whole podcast episode on the exact ingredients that were in those liquids for anybody that's going to use them or experiencing them, to know what is in them and what they're getting themselves into. And then on top of that, you can message Maddie, the owner, and she will just send you over the sheets with all the information of whatever product you need.
Yep, it's a red flag to me if brands cannot provide you those, like, safety data sheets. Yeah. Because why?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we're, like, I don't know. I had one company tell me, well, it's our ingredient secrets, so we can send you the ingredient list. And I was like, well, I want to see, like, how much percentages of certain things are in there, and, like, it all affects everything. Plus, using higher quality brands help you long term, because clients, even if they don't care that you're using a high quality brand, they'll notice it in the longevity of their service. Mm-hmm. So, you know, if all your lashes fall out in a day because you went and saw someone who was using a $15 kit versus someone, or, like, that's why I think even with nails, like, if you're using stuff from Amazon, it doesn't necessarily do anything for you, even though you're saving money, the same way that clients getting cheap services doesn't really do anything for them either. Yeah. So, sorry if you hear my dog in the background. She's a little rampant and energetic today. Which we're happy for, because she has leukemia. And so when she's happy, we're happy.
She was very excited when I came over.
She loves people, but she's in a room right now, so she's like, let me down there. Yeah, I think, too, using low quality products, really just reflects bad on us because it's our name and our face and our.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's our business, and if we're
Yeah.
using low quality products, that's speaking volumes about what we care about.
Yeah.
And that's why at the end of the day, I will go for the higher quality products every single time, because whether, like, yes, it's more expensive as an investment for us, but at the end of the day, we're going to get better clients because we're getting the kind of clients that do care about the services they're getting. And that's really what it comes down to when you are looking at price points. Is it's like, I understand not wanting to go to the most expensive person in your area, but you do not want to go to the cheapest person in your area. You want to be looking in that mid-range, and you want to be I think the people who are very skilled in what they do not hide the products they're using. Mm-hmm. So I think it's really important when you're looking for services and looking at those providers that you look through their social medias or their websites and see what products they're using, and then you can do your own research on those products. Mm-hmm. I think if a service provider is afraid to share what products they're using on you, it comes from two different whys. One, they're embarrassed by the products they're using because they know they're not the best. But two, it probably means they're not the friendliest person because they're trying to secret keep in our community, and I kind of frown upon that because
me too.
I don't see the point of gatekeeping anything, because at the end of the day, our clients are choosing us, yes, for our skill and our products, but at the end of the day, a majority of my clients I know are drawn to me because of me, because you're spending 1 to 3 hours with me, depending on what service you're getting. So you have to make sure you're getting along with the service provider. So I don't think there's a reason for anybody to be gatekeeping what products they're using. So if you are a customer looking at services, I do highly recommend looking into what products your providers are using. Mm-hmm. And if they don't have it posted, just ask them, and they should be willing to share. I'd be willing to share.
Or if you find a brand that you really like the vibes of, like Lightheart or like the Stellar Gel stuff, they both have I'm assuming Lightheart has, they have that where you can go and there's a database and you can put in your zip code and it'll show you who in your area does it. Yep. Obviously, there's probably not someone in everyone's area, but it does help, especially if you live in a bigger city like Denver or anything like that. And I think sometimes clients are just curious in your process. I just had a client switch from a regular gel manicure to structured gel, and the whole time she was like, so what's that? So what's this? Because it's just different. Things are just different, and we all do things differently. Especially clients, if they are coming to me from another nail tech because of they moved or anything like that, they'll also be like, oh, what's this? My old person never used it. And they're definitely, you can tell when people are asking it in a genuinely curious way and not you're doing it differently.
Yeah.
So
I think there's some of my favorite clients are the ones that want to understand the process, because it means they want to know what's going on, and that means they really do care about the service they're getting. And then I have my clients that'll ask questions, and they'll be like, sorry, I'm asking so many questions. And I'm like, no, keep asking them.
I had a client the other day who, it was great. We actually listened to an audio. That's a side story. Anyways, so she was like, oh, does it bother you when people watch you? I know sometimes nail techs don't like when you watch them. And I was like, no, because what is it? Why would it? I mean, I get having the added pressure of oh, they're watching every move I make, and I don't want to sneeze or anything. But if you're just watching out of curiosity, doesn't bother me. And ask questions. It's the same kind of red flag as if you want to go to someone who's licensed, because you should be. And you ask hey, where's your license? They should be able to provide it to you. I even have mine on a little plaque to be it's right over there.
So do I. Yeah.
So I think that's important. And again, I think as far as us in our personal lives, if you invest in high quality products, they tend to go further. They tend to last longer as far as the actual breakdown of the products. Again, on the nail side, I know nothing about lashes.
No, it's the same on our side. If you invest in higher quality adhesives and primers and cleansers, they'll have a better shelf life. Yeah. So it's also beneficial in that way.
So then we save money, because some brand, and again, this is why I don't like stuff from Amazon. They're great for so many things, but if you're buying something, because it's so unregulated, they can lie about everything. It doesn't have to. You can make your own nail polish and not put any of the ingredients on there, or provide a list of ingredients on there, and that's totally legal. It's just really sketchy.
Yeah.
And definitely frowned upon. And so I feel like when I first started, I had used a brand from Amazon, and it said that the shelf life was like 2 years, which is pretty long considering like most of the time it's like a year and a half. And it like started doing like after like 4 months, it started getting really weird. It stopped curing. It had all these issues. Oh, here I go buying another $10 bottle or $2 bottle, like whatever. You're doing it so much more frequently that you're not getting. Or if it's streaky, then you have to do more coats, which means you go through it more. Versus the brands that I use now, a lot of them are almost one coat, like perfect, and then the second coat can actually just be really thin because the first coat was almost perfect. So saves us money. That means we get to make more money, and we don't have to worry about as much overhead. And also just like personally, I want a brand that has good ethics and they aren't doing shady things, because I don't want to be associated with people. When you are your business, you get associated with things. And so I don't want to be associated with shady, unethical, sketchy brands that, even if they are genuinely low chemical, maybe they're testing on animals and lying about it. You never know.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most important things, is making sure you as a business owner align with the missions of the products you're using. So for example, the skincare line I use, their main focus is aligning their products with your natural circadian rhythms. So during the day, those products you'd apply in the morning and during the day are aimed at protecting your skin, while the products that you apply at night are aimed at repairing your skin. And I just like the fact that it goes with the rhythms that you already have in your body, and that's what they focused it on. And it's all about the best. They're not all natural, because all natural skincare products sometimes are not the most effective, so we do have to have some scientifically designed elements to our skincare products, but they're all safe and they've been tested time and time again, and they are cruelty free. They're not all vegan though, because they do have a micro-exfoliating honey cleanser, and then they have some with lactic acid in them, but overall they're cruelty free. They're just not vegan.
And yeah, vegan sometimes, like, we think about vegan and we're like, oh my gosh, but then does that mean they're using meat in the product? And it's not always that. It's just anything that's made from animals. So like the honey, or what was something that I saw the other day? Oh, squalene.
Yeah.
It can be, the squalene I use in my cuticle oil is olive derived, and I always thought it was weird that it said like olive derived, so I googled to see where else it comes from, and I think you can harvest it from like fat or something like that too. So sometimes it's not always, I mean, it's great if you can, but I get it when it can be. And the same thing with like nail products is HEMA was the big chemical that everyone was like, ooh, it's the devil, it's bad now, you're not supposed to use it. And I definitely think there's a kind of that point of if there's too much in it versus if there's enough to make the product stay. Like, HEMA's not bad, it's just you have to know what you're doing, and you can't, overexposure to anything is going to be bad. But yeah, I think brands that care,
Well, that's what I like about high quality products, is they have less fillers in them. And that's one of the big reasons to get high quality products versus lower quality products. And that's what I'm always explaining to my clients when it comes to skincare, is it's like, yes, you can go to the drugstore and you can get that $10 moisturizer, but at the end of the day, that's a $10 moisturizer because it has so many fillers in it versus potent ingredients. And when you get a product of mine, let's say my $60 moisturizer, which sounds like a lot, but it's super potent, so you don't need to use much of it, you're going to get major results from it. Like, it's honestly my top seller because of how hydrating it is. And since it's so potent and you don't use as much, yes, it's $60, but that $60 is probably going to last you anywhere from 60 to 90 days. And if you do that breakdown, you're paying like what, $1 a day for your moisturizer?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, and then if you get the low quality one, it's not going to be as potent, it's not going to be as hydrating. You're going to have to use it a lot more. Yeah.
I've even had that just in my personal life. I switched to a more medical grade, high quality, like professional grade skincare face wash. And the one that I was using came in the same bottle, like size, and I felt like I was going through it like every 3 months. And so I just assumed with this one, I was like, oh, it's been 3 months, I should just go ahead and get another one for when it runs out. And now it's been 6-7 months, and I still have it because you just need like the tiniest amount. So it's definitely, I think, just with on that end of things too, it's good to care about what's in your products and be curious and
Yeah, never hesitate to ask questions, because the educated service provider is going to have the answers for you. And even if they don't have the answers off the top of their head, they're going to know exactly where to look to get you those answers. I think that's one of the like false realities, is sometimes people expect us to remember everything off the top of our heads. And if we did that, that would be probably like 5 textbooks worth of information. So it's not a matter of does your provider know off their top of their head. It's can they get that answer for you.
Right.
Because I would rather be honest with you and be like, hey, I don't know that right now, but let me just look at it and give you the correct answer. And that's so much better than watching somebody try to like BS their way through the answer.
I mean, sometimes I just forget how much my services are.
Me too. People,
if it's a service I don't do a lot, I'll be like, they'll be like, so how much would my total be if I had this? And I'm like, let me look really quick. I don't know.
That's my biggest thing with my retail products. People be like, how much is it? And I'm like, I'm gonna have to take a look.
I know. I finally had to print out labels for mine because I sell lotion, which also I love because it doesn't have a lot of fillers. And everyone would be like, well, how much is that big bottle? And I was like, I just need to print out a label so I can have it on there. Oh my goodness, yeah. Yeah, and a lot of times we're excited too. Like if you have a question, I will tell you about it. Like I've had people ask, well, why did you switch brands? What made you want to switch? I've filled them in on all the tea, or well, why do you like this one better than that one? Or is there a brand you like better or anything like that? And we go in. So if you're genuinely curious, sometimes it's just fun to like talk to somebody else, especially when it's just us in our rooms. Like I don't get to talk to all of my other friends about all the things that I'm doing, and some of them don't even care. They're like, you're doing whatever you want to do. So it's fun to educate. We love doing that. That's why we started this podcast. So
I mean, it's another good way to just tell if your service provider really cares about what they're doing. If they're not passionate to answer your questions, that's probably a warning sign that they're not necessarily doing it for the right reasons.
Right.
Because like this is everything to me, so you can ask me anything and I'll have an answer, and I'll be excited to talk about it.
Yeah, people ask what my hobbies are, and I'm like, nails? Don't you do anything else? No. Well, what do you do when you get home? I look at nail stuff. I research nail stuff. So, yeah. Yep. I lost where we were.
I feel like we've been going all over the place.
Yeah. I had saves money in the long run. We did that. Oh, I can tell that I'm also sleepy today, but...
So am I. It's one of those days.
I know. And I think the weather changing has been crazy, too.
It's supposed to change again.
I know. It's supposed to snow. Ugh. It's going to be such a long... When I saw that the groundhog saw his shadow, I was like, we've known this. Our winter started so late. We knew it was going to be long. What is everyone talking about? Just a reminder for those who don't know, we're in Colorado, so... I feel like the weather really does change every second.
It's very rapid. It's like we're going to go from our super warm weekend that we're having right now to super cold.
I know.
Yeah. Which might not be the case when you guys are listening to this podcast, depending on when we release it.
Or if it's still the case, because I think this is it's end of February. If it's still the case, that won't surprise me as well. I know we try to like record stuff out because we're busy.
Yeah, we just film when we have time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I also wrote down people don't want to feel like a number. They want to feel like a person, and providing high quality customer care focused things does make a difference. Because again, when we talk about cheap services, cheap products, a lot of times, so I went on a rant in one of my groups. A client actually knew it was me in that group, and I was like, and I deleted the post because it was pretty heavy. But I was saying how like I'm booked and busy, and that's great, and I'm great for that. But it pains me when I see people looking for cheap services, and I get that it's what they want to afford, and it's what like fits their budget, and that's not our clientele. But like, why wouldn't you want to pay more for a higher quality experience? Because they were saying, and one woman this was the only comment that made sense because everyone else was just saying whatever. But she was saying how a lot of people have paid like the same price that they're paying for what our services are, but they're getting less. And they don't want that anymore. They don't want a low quality service at premium prices. And if you're offering things that don't last and things that chip or fall out or whatever, then people don't want it. I have a friend and she stopped going to her hairdresser because she would color her own hair at home and it would last 2 months. And she's a licensed, maybe she's just licensed in nails, but she's licensed. And so she was getting professional products, and she was saying when she did her own hair, it would last for 2 months, and when this girl did her hair, it would last 2 weeks, and it would just wash out. And I don't know what she was using, but like if you after a few times of paying, I think it was like $200 for your hair color to last 2 weeks, you don't really want to go back. So I kind of understood that. Again, that was the only comment on that entire. Everyone else was either asking if they could get on my books, or telling me how it wasn't it wasn't their responsibility to pay for my lifestyle, which sent me off.
That's wild.
Because I was like, it has nothing to do with my lifestyle. It's literally like it's your responsibility to pay for a service that you get.
I think people forget that services are a luxury.
I know.
Like you're choosing to get a luxury service.
And I hate saying it because like I wish everyone would get their nails. Like I love having my nails done, But it really is like you would live without it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you're not going to die or get in a car wreck or anything like that if you don't have your lashes done, if you don't have your hair done, if you don't have your nails done. Some people were saying, well, some of us, if we're looking for jobs, we have to look presentable. And I'm like, you can look presentable and not have luxuries. Yeah. My mom doesn't get anything done except for her toes. And now I do her hair, but like she's very low maintenance and she has a job. Like there's not, it doesn't, also if you go to a place where they care if your nails are done, I don't care how much they're going to pay you. That's weird.
Yeah, no, that's really weird.
Like that's really weird if they're like, her hands, they look nice, but she doesn't have French tips. That's weird. Don't work for them. Red flag. Find people who want your skills. Oh man. Yeah, that was a wild. And then my client came in and was like, was that posting you in that group? And I was like, yes. Because it was complaining about like how much effort I put into my services, but I see people complain all the time. And she was like, I thought it was you. And she said she commented as one of the people who were like, can I get on your books? And she thought I would notice it was her. And I was like, oh my God, now I feel so bad because so many people were commenting and I didn't even recognize her name. Yeah, it's crazy. Anyways, at the end of the day, it's not just about the price of products. It's about the value that you give people and the value that I feel like if we use good products, we feel good too because we can back it.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to back what you're doing when you believe in not only the product you're using, but the brand you're using. I don't just go based off of products. I go by the owners of these brands. Like, how are they communicating with the people that are purchasing their products? My skincare company I work with, they have a whole Facebook group that's dedicated to answering any questions you might have about it, and that can be from other people, other estheticians and cosmetologists that are using their skincare can answer those questions. But then anybody who works for them can also be in that Facebook group answering questions. And I've even asked questions in that group, and I've had employees of the skincare brand DM me privately on Facebook to give me the answers. And I'm in groups for those too. That's something else too, is if you're interested in a brand, find their Facebook group. I know Facebook's dead, nobody uses it anymore, but it really has a lot of uses, especially the groups. I feel like I'm only on Facebook for groups. So am I. And most of the time, if it's not like a manager or an employee, one of the brands I use is Dolly Artistic, and the owners, all the owners are in that group, and they are super helpful. Like if you're asking for like color matches or the differences in products, and they hop in and do all sorts of stuff, and it's just nice. Like even I had a customer service issue once, and I posted it in the group not knowing that they were in the group because I was new, and they were like, oh my gosh, you just got lost in all the chaos, like we're emailing you right now, like we'll get on it. So even with customer service issues, it's nice to kind of have more of a direct line because a lot of times they, that's what everyone's seeing, so they want to have a good outlook. That's also something, going kind of off of this and like the people within the brand helping you. Something I really look for when I'm investing in a new brand and new products is, does that brand offer education?
Mm-hmm.
Because if a brand wholly believes in their products and what they can do for you, and they want to make sure you are using these products to the best of your ability to represent their brand, that's what matters to me. So who I use for my lash lifts and tints and my brow laminations and tints, they do a whole certification on doing those things. So they back their products all the way to give you a certificate in it.
Even if it's just like a 15-minute, I know Luminary, that's another brand that I just shout out all my brands I use. Maybe they'll make me a partner. But Luminary, they do a free introductory Instagram live stream every Wednesday, maybe? I don't know. Once a week, at least once a month. And it's to help people who are maybe thinking about using them kind of see like what the difference is, ask questions. Then maybe you want to take their live certification class, which I also did, and the teacher for that, I think her name's Tara. She, again, the same thing, like they focus on the like what you need to know, and then they ask you what do you want to know and what are things that they can provide people. And then that Dolly brand that I use, they also do like a free conversion course because their products are so different than the usual gel products and so low chemical that the prep process is a little different, and it's good to have. It's just something, even if it's like a little booklet where it's just like, here's what you're used to, here's what this does, or here's a basics thing.
I mean, my lash brand, they have Lightheart Academy where you can actually buy courses that they've made and take those courses. But on top of that, they offer tons of free education through their podcast, their blog, and their YouTube channel as well, because they wholly believe that the best lash artist is the educated lash artist. And that applies to nails and hair as well. And then my skincare brand that I use, they didn't have this when I first got them. When I first got them and you invest in them for the first time, they actually send out one of the members of their team to you, and they do a personal one-on-one training going over all of their products. And since I am a one-woman business, I got to model myself for them to do a facial on me with those products, which was super cool. So I got to feel how they all felt in that setting. But now they have a whole university online that has tons of different courses that you can take. And as long as you're a partner with their brand, majority of them are free. They have some certifications like dermaplaning and microneedling and chemical peels. I think you have to pay maybe like $99 for all those. But I just love the fact that they have all this education on their own products and on how to use them to the best of your ability, because that shows to me that they believe in them so much that they want to make sure everybody's representing their brand properly.
Yeah. It's just important, like, because even for us, like, just having the access to continuing education to keep up with, like, trends, new services, different, things that people want within their services. Because, boy, it changes all the time. It's crazy.
So fast. Yeah.
So.
And I think that, like, piggybacking off of all of this, like, from the hazard sheets to the education, overall, the big arching thing when it comes to using high quality products is then we can give you better customer service. And at the end of the day, that's all we want to do as a service provider.
Yeah, and we want everyone to have a good experience. I mean, it's sad when I see, that's a little rant since we're only at 30 minutes. I saw a video of this girl who went to a nail salon and she left with just her tips on, and she went in. She's been going to this salon. I can't remember how long she had said, but like forever. And she went in, and the woman like looked at her and was like, "Oh, do you have an appointment today?" And she was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Well, what's your name?" And she was like, "It's the same front desk girl that's there every time I come." And she was like, "But I get it. Like, you see a bunch of people. Sometimes you forget." So she was like, "Oh, my name's blah blah blah. I'm with blah blah blah." And they were like, "Okay." And so she sits down. And the girl's like running late, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna sit down with you in a second." And she's like, "Okay." And the girl sits down, and she starts like taking her nails off, like isn't talking to her. And she's like, "I've been coming here for forever, and it just feels weird that like you don't talk to me, even though I see you or one other person every single time." And then like she was talking about the shape, and all the comments were like, "Service providers want us to tell them when we don't like something, but then they get mad at us when we do." No, The service providers that want you to tell them when you don't like something are not the same service providers that get mad when you say something.
Yeah.
Because she was like, she wanted a almond, and they started doing the stiletto, and you guys don't know how, like, clients don't know how to do nails. Like, they don't know if you're going to do that at the end, or maybe that's just the beginning and you're going to come back. And so she just said, oh, are you going to round them out later? And the woman was like, what do you want, stiletto or almond? And she was like, well, I want like a skinny, like, I don't want like a round, so I want like a more of an almond. And I can't remember what the woman said, but she was like, I'm finding someone else to do your nails. And I was like, it's not that hard. Like, if you're not even done with the shaping part, because she wasn't, it was just the clear plastic tip. And they're like, oh, can you round out the tips? It takes 5 seconds. Okay, maybe not 5 seconds, but it definitely doesn't take, it's not like you have to start all over, like you finished the whole set and they said, oh, I want square. Like,
yeah.
It just doesn't.
I mean, the big thing in my industry with lashes, because your eyes are closed the entire time you're doing it, is I really believe in giving a thorough consultation for like a good 10 minutes before I have you lay down and I start doing your lashes. And that includes like taking a look at your eye shape, me explaining to you what I think is going to look best on you, you showing me any reference pictures you have, which it is best to get off of my Instagram because I'll know how I did those ones. Other ones can be hit or miss. Which I always encourage people to like look through my Instagram page before they come in and find some of the styles they like that I've done, or some of the colored lashes I've done, or whatever. Nails is easier because they're watching you do it, so you're able to speak up mid-process. Lashes, you literally have no idea what I'm doing. It's all trust, and that's why I believe that a thorough consultation is so important.
Yeah.
And that's a part of having a high quality service. Like, there's so many things you need to look for when you go to a service provider for the first time, from seeing their license to seeing how they're talking to you. Did you fill out any forms? Because you should have, and if you haven't, that's a red flag.
Something, even if it's just a policy form.
Yeah, there should be some kind of forms that you're filling out. They should be asking you questions about what you want, but they should also be explaining what's going to work best for you, because not everything works for everybody, especially with eye shapes. I've seen a few of Emma's videos, so I know not everything works for everybody's nails either. You ask about their products, take a look at what they're using. Like, when you first meet somebody new and you're getting a service done, when it's near your eyes, it's your nails, it's your skin, it's your hair, ask questions. If people are getting upset and mad that you are asking questions, you don't want to see them.
And ask too, I feel like this will apply to lashes also, because now you offer like brown and red and everything. But like, ask about options. Like, if you show someone a picture, I just had a client, she wanted this deep cherry red. I didn't have the exact color, but she just picked one from my ring. She was like, this is good. And as I was getting it out, she was like, she was like, oh, do you mix colors often? And I was like, no, I mean, it just kind of depends, like, if somebody needs a color for, like, art and stuff mainly. And she was like, could we go darker with this color? And so we ended up mixing 2 different reds together, and she, at the end, was like, oh, I love this color. And I feel like if I went in to a lash person and, you know, they're not saying, oh, well, we could do this in brown, we could do this in this, we could do it in neon green or whatever, then you're not going to know. But if you are curious about that, hey, do you offer, do you have these? If not, that's okay, and we'll just do this. But do you? Because a lot of times I'm sure they'll be like, yeah, actually I do, I would love to do that, I never get to use those.
I was going to say, I think a lot of us lash artists secretly have colors hidden away.
Well, because you always want to try them. I don't know if I think I mentioned this in another video episode, but I even have colored like little colored lash extensions that I've ended up with. So, you know, if I knew anything about doing lashes. Yeah, I think it's important just to be happy and satisfied and fulfilled in the type of services and products you're offering.
Yeah.
Because if I know that offering a service, it's not going to be my best foot forward, then I don't want to stress about other people realizing it's not my best. Like, I would rather just offer things that I'm trained in, good at, can back with, like, my knowledge of, like, oh, we have to troubleshoot, well, I know this stuff already. Versus if I did an acrylic set and they all popped off, I wouldn't be able to tell you why. I'd just be like, I don't know, I'm not good at it. So I don't know if we have anything else to
I was
talk
gonna
about.
say. I mean, like, my last thing is just that the higher quality of the products, the more aesthetically pleasing, which is like a surface level thing. But like, I feel like that's another thing that goes hand in hand with when you're looking for a high quality service, is you care about the space you're walking into, or you should care about the space you're walking into, because I feel like that speaks volumes about who you're seeing. And just having those higher quality products that look more aesthetically pleasing because that brand is putting so much more care into their packaging. Half the time for me, that means I do have some of my products out on the side, which means my clients, if they so desire, can like pick them up and take a look at them. And that just by holding that packaging in their hands, I feel like they can tell that there's been a lot more care, put into it.
Yep, even just with the products that I make, I do a bunch of research and try to find things that will feel like, oh, this is put together. This is luxurious, or and different.
Yeah.
Which I just was up so late last night trying to contact distributors about refillable cuticle oil pens, because for the life of me, and some of them I found like the perfect one, and I was like, oh, what's the minimum order? And they were like 20,000 units was the minimum for the one that I wanted. And I was like, these will be buried with me if I get 20,000. I don't even know. All of my clients would have to get like 200 pens for them to...
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I settled for one I got samples of. We'll see if I like it. I think I end up having to order, if I end up ordering them, I think I have to get 5,000, which isn't as bad. But they're also not the perfect ones that I wanted. But
20,000 crazy.
20,000. I was like, holy cow, these are really for like retailers.
Well, I've learned a lot, like being a brand ambassador with Lightheart Lashing and like talking to her about it. I've learned a lot about retailing products, and it's not for the faint of hearted.
No, I think it's because sometimes when I'm on our podcast one, I might follow her also, because again, her videos are very aesthetically pleasing.
Yes.
But I saw one from their podcast that was like, oh, it costed us like $150,000 just to release one
new SKU,
new thing, and I was like,
one new barcode.
I believe it, because it was gonna cost me like $7,000 just to get the packaging.
Yeah, let alone what's going in it. Yeah.
Let alone what's going in it. So.
Yeah.
Man, do your research though. My clients love my pens, and that's why I had to place another order. Is I ordered, I think it was just 100 the last time, and that was only like 4 months ago. And the fact that I only have like 10 left, I was like, holy cow, it's crazy.
That's good.
I know, I love it. I feel like I was gonna say something else, and then I forgot, because you were talking about packaging.
I think I've covered everything I have to say on this, unless you spark something.
No.
But I think at the end of the day, like what I take away from this conversation, because I feel like I take away something from everything we talk about, is like, it's not just the high quality products that you're looking for service providers to have, it's the whole like high quality experience.
Yeah.
So like ranging from how they're interacting with you, consultations, what their space looks like, can you see their products, are they willing to answer your questions? Like, high quality products are just like the tip of the iceberg, I feel like, when it comes to that. So pay attention to what products they're using, but then also pay attention to the other things that fold into getting a high quality service.
Yep. I also had another thought and forgot it again. My brain is so tired. I've had so much that is being planned for this year. I just want to sleep for a million years.
I feel that. I've had a very hectic 2 weeks.
I know you have.
That can be a story for another day.
Later on. Yeah. Well, I think we can end that episode here. It's kind of a shorter one. Surprised we did it in under 45 minutes. It's amazing.
Managed to compact it for you guys for a change.
Yeah, I think because we had that time and we knew that we were going to be doing this episode, we had more of a guideline. But anyways, as usual, all of our links will be in the description of this video for our business social medias, the podcast social media, so you can keep up with everything we're doing in our businesses and on the podcast. Any links that we may have mentioned that we think you guys will want, then we'll put those down there too. A few episodes ago we talked about our French bird, so if you haven't friended me on French bird yet, You better, because I still only have Jade.
It's important to have friends on there. I also think it's a really good New Year's resolution app to have.
It's so handy, and now that I've gotten through, I just leveled up through. Side note, talking about Finch Bird again. I just leveled up through the basic self-care things, and I figured out how to customize my dashboard better. And it even has, because my goal is to move more, I just have some little ones where it's do 10 squats so I can move. And I've added so many things that I'm actually doing, and it's crazy because it just reminds me at the end of the day you're right, you didn't drink any water. You should do that right now. Check. And then it gives you gems and you can buy clothes, and it's great.
Just a little fun self-care.
It's so fun. I think I also did my Duolingo one on that, because also if you're not friends with me on Duolingo, that's a good one to have friends with too, because you can kind of motivate each other. But anyways, maybe I'll put those again in the links just for funsies.
Yeah. And if you guys have any questions or ideas for a future podcast, feel free to comment those below or on our socials. Or if you have any questions for one of us or both of us, you can DM us.
And things like that.
Yep. We're always open.
We love it. Love to help. That's a good thing I can add at the end of this before we sign off, is I had an old friend of mine from... I don't really know what to call him. He was really close with my aunt and her kids and me and stuff, and he just started getting into tattoos, and he reached out to me about what I use to make my social media look so nice. And we had a nice conversation, and I felt so special, and I had loved it. I was like, oh, I love sharing my knowledge of the fact I was just oh, this is what I use, and this is how I do it, and you schedule out stuff. And he was asking me about highlights and things, and I was like, oh, I never thought I would be giving you advice from all these states away. But yeah, so that was nice. So always reach out. We have lots of input, and if we don't, we maybe have other people who do. So
I feel like we always have somebody for something if we don't have the answer. Yeah, but we're here to help. That's the whole point of this podcast. So whether it's business or life related, ask away.
Yep. Until then, we'll see you guys
next time.
Bye.